Now, the last like singular track I want to bring up is off of Midnight,
Yeah.
Unopened Windows.
Yes.
That one, like, really, um, it's really cool. I think on an album when you have sonically different moments, and that song is just, I think it's one of the slowest ones you've done, and it's slowed down. And it's on piano, and it
Yeah.
just really, I mean, similar to Why Worry, like you really tap into these messages that are like important and poignant messages. So do you want to kind of like talk about that one? Where did that
Absolutely.
come from and what does it mean to you personally?
So I had that concept. So this is one where like so I should probably talk deeper because before I talked about how I only start with a melody, but that's not necessarily true. I have a notepad I keep on my phone called Song Topics. I have one called Song Topics, one called One Liners. Like if I think of a lyric that I think would be cool to insert if it applies. But Song Topics is like if I think of a concept just through conversation with people. I feel like that's where like a lot of ideas come out, like even in conversation, like just in interviews. Um, and I don't know where the idea incepted, but the concept of unopened windows is like about how um my father passed before I feel like I got to do a lot of the stuff with him that I wish I could have done. Like he was a huge Eagles fan, loved the team so much, but I didn't get into it until 20 like 10, like 2 years after he passed. And now that I'm a mega fan, I'm like, man, it'd be so cool to go to a game with him, but I can't. I would, he passed before, like we could really go have a drink together, and I was like, it'd be so cool to just have a beer with my dad, and like there was all these different things, and I kind of conceptualized it as it's almost like you're in a house and you're seeing all these things play out through the window, but you'll never open it. You'll never be able to open it. It's just out there, out of reach. So I wanted to comment on that because I don't think I've heard a song about all the things that you wish you could have done when someone kind of expressed in that way. So that's where the concept came from. But I knew once I wrote it down, it was going to be a challenge because whenever I would tell one of my friends about it, because I'm always sharing stuff because I need to know if it's good or not. Whenever I would explain the concept, I realized how many words I had to use to get the point across, and I was like, that could be a problem because you have what 3 to 4 minutes to tell a story, and the chorus is like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and you need to make sure you get the whole synopsis in the chorus. I'm like, how the hell am I going to do that? So the kind of precursor to this is the second song I wrote about my father. The first one was just called Dad Song. And it was the hardest song I ever wrote because I was such a control freak about it and a perfectionist about it. And it was never good enough until I learned to let go a little bit. So I had to like let the producers help me more and like contribute more because if it was all me, it would never get done. So with Unopened Windows, it was my first time of reapproaching the topic, but with that mindset. So like I didn't really touch the piano. Like that was more the other writers in the room. And I just focused on the how am I gonna convey this message? And it was a really great experience just kind of getting it out. And it's also nerve-wracking because it's we knew this is gonna be the ballad of the record. And we always like to try to have at least one, whether it's a conventional ballad or an unconventional ballad. And it was it's honestly the most emotional song I've ever played live on stage. Like I don't cry on stage, and that broke me down the first couple times because there is this moment at the end where in Dad's song where we played Danny Boys, this old Irish folk tune. Me and my dad had this moment once. I was doing my high school spring concert and we played Danny Boy. My dad was already diagnosed. He was driving me home. He pulled the car over and he just started sobbing, telling me about the story of it because that whole song is about a father telling his son who's about to go off to war that when he comes back from that war, he might not be alive anymore. And he saw a relation to that because I was about to go off to college and he was afraid of what eventually did happen. And so that song, Danny Boy, that melody, do 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 do, it's like if it's a classical song and it's that old, usually the rule of thumb, there's a certain amount of years that I always have to Google it because I don't remember it, but like it becomes free domain. So I inserted that in the song. And then this time we inserted it again because I wanted it to be tied in there. I think if I ever write a song about my dad, it'll be hiding in the background somewhere. But live, I bring out my clarinet And at the end of the song, I play Danny Boy. I let all the instruments fade out. And it's just a spotlight, and I'm playing Danny Boy on the clarinet. And I just, I don't know. I don't want to sound corny, but I feel like he's present every time I do it. And then the crowd, when they hum along to the melody, it just becomes the most overwhelmingly emotional feeling ever. So our live show matters a lot to us, and I know it mattered a lot to him. So I try to. I'm getting deep here. Damn. Well, like I just wanted to do the song justice, and I'm really proud of how that song came out.